Hey guys,
Hi, this is Malvika
I'm Akshaya.
and welcome to
In Mind
Mind
We
We
Trust.
Trust.
So we are here for a new episode. Now we're indoors, so thankfully there'll be no bug episode.
We've learned our lesson.
But I still like the outdoors. All right, so I like being outdoors and being able to record outdoors. But I just, I just want it to be in a safe environment where there are no bugs. But I don't think we can control that during this season.
Really.
I wish we could.
I'm very happy we're indoors
Yeah.
with the AC on and the mics working and no animals on
Oh yeah,
us.
mics are working hopefully. But so we're back. We have a new episode here for you guys to listen to and for me to ask you some questions.
I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so hope everyone's ready. We are going to be talking about a topic that's I think close to Marlu's heart. And I'm interested in it because I think I want to be brave like you to do it. And the topic is I quit my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And
I think also the way we came up with this is just 2 days ago. You said I'm thinking about this, and I was like,
yeah,
let's do it. I think it's the fastest conceptualization of
a topic.
a topic
Yeah,
for
but
us.
that's what we do, right? We pick a topic and randomly talk about it.
Yeah.
And like we discussed before, we randomize our topic discussions or the discussions of what we want to talk
Yeah.
about. It's usually something that's close to our heart, or it's something about uh, some experience that we had. And so I'm glad we came to this topic because, like I said, I want to be brave like you and do what you do. But okay, so I'm going to be asking you questions, and if you're ready,
Let's go.
let's do it. Okay, so when did you decide to do it? When did you decide to leave your 9 to 5 and do something independently?
Uh, it actually happened in 2022 November when I
Hmm.
actually set my heart out to do it. But the idea of it was, I was mulling over it for a couple of years before that also, because I felt like when I was doing the 9 to 5s, uh, I wasn't meant for it. I felt like um, I there's too much taken away from me in organizations, and maybe I'm not, it's justice is not being done in terms of money or appreciation or recognition or people seeing my work as my work.
Hmm.
But I was not brave enough. I was scared. And also because I come from a very service class background, I also told myself we can do it later. We'll do it later, you know.
Okay.
Um, but 2022, and I was in a wonderful organization in 2022. I was working with an organization called Mun Talks. It's a shout out, check it out. They run a beautiful mental health helpline in all over India. It's based out of Mumbai, and it was a wonderful organization. But I also felt that I was 8 years into being a psychotherapist and a clinical supervisor for other therapists, and maybe it's time now to give in to this urge and this intuition that says, Malvika, you can do it, you're good enough. At least try, give
Hmm.
it a year at least to go on your own independently and then see where it takes you. And if you can't, you can always fall back on any other organization or the same organization, right? So 2022,
I think it was right after COVID, right? Or
no, I think a year after
year after.
COVID, and I am so glad I did it because
Really?
yeah,
So
it's been the
what was
best.
your age when you took that plunge?
31.
31. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking about it because when you said that, you were pushing it to a point where, like, no, 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 I don't want to do it now. Maybe you didn't feel ready, or maybe you didn't have the right mind space to do it. Um, why was there a shift in your thought that, okay, maybe I should not push it anymore and maybe I need to do it now? Like,
Yeah.
what was that shift?
Yeah. Uh, a lot of things actually. One is, I think, my belief in my own skill. I
Hmm.
started having increasingly more confidence in the work I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I had started building a private practice
Okay.
many years before that. It's just that I was doing jobs, I was doing my regular 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
In fact, 3 4 years before 2022, I had started building my private practice. I was seeing few clients, putting in maybe 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours a week. So,
Yeah.
and I started seeing the clients come back. I started seeing the kind of journeys I was having with my clients. And so, yeah, self belief, the belief and the trust that clients started having in me as a therapist, and family.
Hmm.
For me, the last uh, step was discussing it with my mom, dad, and my husband, saying, listen, this is my thought, I'm just thinking about you know taking on a clinic and then starting my private practice full-fledgedly, not working for an organization full time. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, my internal dialogue was, they will say, no, don't do
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, I thought, because especially my parents come from a very traditional service class, working like government servants, right?
Yeah.
So I thought they would say, no, 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 it's don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so surprising. Um, Mom, dad, and my husband said, please go for it.
Wow.
So I think for me, that
Support.
support was also very key. And I still remember this one dialogue that my husband Surat said. He said, if you don't do it now, then when? Right? Give it a year. I am here.
Wow.
So even if it doesn't, go the way you're thinking it will,
Yeah.
financially or in terms of hours, or the kind of clients that come to you,
Yeah.
fulfillment, etc. If it doesn't go as planned, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But do it if this is something you've been thinking about and you have been building it on the side, right?
Hmm.
So try it. So I think it's so much, right? It's
Right.
not just my success alone. I think it's when from different corners people have shown that kind of support
Yeah.
and spirit and belief in
Yeah. You.
what I want to do.
Right.
That's when I was able to take that plunge
Yeah.
and say, okay, let's just
And
do it.
people had that faith in you that you'll be able to do
Yes,
it. But
yes,
also, I think that validation that, hey, if it doesn't work out, we are still here. I mean,
absolutely,
you're going to be you, I'm going to be me. So
absolutely.
that's not going to change. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that validation is important for
yeah,
someone taking that plunge.
yeah.
And I think, like you mentioned, that you had started building something from way
Absolutely,
before, which
absolutely.
gave you that, it was a legitimate thing that was happening, and it was a
Absolutely.
process oriented step that you took,
Yeah.
which I think is important. To be honest, um, I'm concerned, or I'm rather now focused on the fact that, not that I don't want to start it now, but I am concerned about the fact that, I want to find that niche, or that one area of focus that I'm good at.
Yeah.
So, say that, I want to do OD consulting, organizational development consulting. But what in that field am I really good at, that I can talk about even without some research, or even without any homework myself. And so I think that's that skill, that you mentioned, that, I developed my skill for a really long time before I jumped into the deep end in the pool. That's what I'm trying to understand. And one thing that I remember talking to you about is, how do you get to understand what your skill is, or what your ability is, and
Absolutely.
your capabilities are?
Yeah.
And I remember you were telling me a few tips and tricks, and I think it'll be really good if you can put more light
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of things that I did. One is, even when I started with 3 hours or maybe with two clients back in 2017 privately, I started maintaining an Excel sheet.
Okay.
First of all, just to be very practical and see how much money am I making and if I'm being able to sustain this practice.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I started maintaining documents where I was taking down my notes
Okay.
to see, okay, what is the kind of work I'm doing with my clients. So, what are the kind of uh, therapeutic perspectives I'm using, right? What are the kind of interventions I'm using? how strong is my conceptualization about
Mhm.
whatever. So technical stuff. I started monitoring my technical knowledge,
Mhm.
and then also figuring out the gaps.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I was never a reader. I honestly did the bare minimum in college and in my masters. What was required of me, I did that, and I just wanted to go to the next step.
Okay.
But when I started working with my clients, I started, because I was also enjoying the process.
Mm.
I started reading every day, and that's something I tell even my counselors in supervision when they ask me now, or even when clients ask me, uh, you shared this in the session, where did you get this from? And I tell them that I read every day. It may be the most basic article, it doesn't have to be something too esoteric or educational or academic, but every day I try to read so that I can better up my skill.
Yeah.
I think it's also a matter of permutation and combination. So when I started working more and more with clients, I started realizing the cohorts I'm good at,
Okay.
good working with,
Yes.
and the cohorts I'm not great working with, right? So I think with time and taking that risk and working with different kinds of clients, I
Mm.
also then started developing my niche. So okay, these are the therapeutic skills I have, these are the therapeutic skills I need to work on, these are the clients I can actually work well with, these are the clients I may not be most comfortable and the
Right.
best fit for. So I think it's a lot of this homework at the back end,
Yes.
and also honestly fleshing it out.
Okay.
For me, it was not just in my head. I would then write it in my Google Sheets or in my notes, sit and reflect on these things.
Yes.
And then over time, when you then look back over the last 3 months or 6 months, you will be able to see your own learning curve. So I remember talking to you last week about making your own personal SWOT analysis, right? And maybe reviewing it every 3 to 4 months so you know what has changed
Yes.
or shifted. Something that I would do every 6 months is like a personal ikigai, right? So,
Hmm.
what are you good at? What the world also demands of you right now, what the markets are like, how much you can charge, what's your value. So, figure that out for yourself also. So, I think it's also this commitment towards constant improvement, but also constant reflection of,
Hmm.
what am I worthy of? What can I provide
Okay.
uh, to the world, and what is the need of the world also?
Yeah, that's interesting because you know what I'm afraid of is maybe afraid is too big a word, but I'm concerned or anxious about the say in a SWOT. I know I have strengths and opportunities, but what about my weaknesses and threats? What
Yeah.
if I come across something that I am not good at? How am I going to tackle that? And what if I'm not able to achieve
Yeah.
a successful transaction with a client or a customer?
Yeah.
So how do you cater to those fears and
Good
those,
question.
yeah, those uncertain in
Yeah.
uncertain times and the threats or the weaknesses that you may have in your personal SWOT?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so this causes a lot of uncertainty and anxiety, right?
Yeah.
I still remember when I first started off full fledged in
Yeah.
private practice. The first 3 months, I made very little money, and I had left my very good
Paying
full
job.
time job,
Hmm.
right? And so it shook me,
Okay.
because I was like, oh, I've taken this risk, and I was making so much in the part time of this therapeutic practice, and now suddenly it's all gone.
Hmm.
But I think sitting through it, reminding yourself of why you did or make a decision, um, trying to remind yourself what is in your control,
Hmm.
right? And for me, at least, patiently focusing on that, right?
Okay.
So you stick it through, and I genuinely believe this: if you stick it through, uh, you will get back.
Okay.
Okay. And in terms of weaknesses, I also believe, listen, we have to all take accountability and then
Yes.
work
Work towards
work
it.
towards changing that, improving it. With fear, sit with it again. I
Definitely.
still sit with so many of my fears. I don't think there is anything like a perfect
Right.
therapist or a perfect professional, right?
Yeah.
So there's constant reflection, there's constant ideas that I play with in my mind. There's where I want to improve, what I want to do, what else can I do, what is the innovation I'm bringing to my work, what is the innovation I'm bringing to a client, what is the
Right.
newness that I'm bringing to the
Right.
table, right? So uh, it may sound very difficult, and sometimes it is, but also constantly reinventing
Yourself.
yourself,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be complacent, and I believe that's true of any field. You've got to be in touch with the times, you've got to be
Correct.
in touch with the socio-political, the socio-economical, understand your, in maybe in your language we can say audience, in my field we'd say understand your clientele, right? I
Clientele. Yeah.
understand uh, what's being asked for. Akshaya, when we even started studying psychology, and I think you will relate to this,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody said go become a
Oh
psychologist
yeah.
when we were 15, which is
I remember
18,
that.
20 years back.
Yeah.
Nobody said, wow, it's such a great field.
Yeah.
Everybody, at least with me, and I was an academically good student, so
Yeah.
everybody said pursue pure
Pure
sciences,
sciences.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
But I also feel then a part of this in terms of uh, how to address your weaknesses and fears is
Yes.
also trusting yourself and saying, okay, if this is what I think I'm good at, intuitively go
That's
ahead, do it.
huge.
Yeah. So
That's,
trusting
yeah, I
also.
think trusting, having faith in yourself, like you
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
off with that, and I do agree to it. I do agree to everything you say, but like I said, I haven't had that courage yet. But I do have a confession to make. It's that me and one of my really good friends, her name is Simone, so shout out to Simone. So we started our own venture in the US when we were there. We have our own organization. We call it Elevate Global Consulting. And we both are
Yes.
very passionate about global consulting, helping organizations. And we specifically spoke about, when we were discussing this, we spoke about how we are good at, like, finding solutions together, like our brains work really well together. And we came together to help organizations, especially smaller organizations, to build their people,
Yeah.
to build their organization from the strategy point of view of how people can help in creating your organization and making it more effective and efficient. And when we sat together, we did discuss the idea that we need to bring in both of our strengths, and we need to work on the factors that we are not very good at and the opportunities that we may have. But we both have full-time jobs. We do our 9 to 5. We
Mm.
haven't quit it, only because I think we don't have that mental space or the financial capital to completely detach from the 9 to 5 cycle and get
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
more independent stuff. So I think right now we are in a space where we are like, okay, let's go with the flow. Keep talking about it,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
discussing with people about it. We put in some proposals here and there. We have long term clients. We are doing longitudinal studies. We both are really good at research, so we love,
Oh,
yeah, we love reading. But it's just that we haven't come to a point where we can leave everything and only focus on this. And I'm
yeah.
100% sure that if we leave everything and only do Elevate Global Consulting work, I think we both are going to be great. But it's just that we haven't taken that step yet. And we keep discussing on and off about what we need to do and how we need to move forward. Um, and I think we both are on the same page that we still want to do it, but it's just that we don't have enough time to spend on it. But then I remember from our previous episode with Kunal as well that you have to carve out that time. You have to carve
Yes.
out that
Yes.
niche for
Yes.
yourself, and then just take that step into
Absolutely.
it and
Absolutely.
just jump into the deep end,
Deep
right?
end.
Don't think about that, do you have enough or do you not have enough
Yeah.
time or money or whatever. But that's that
It's a leap of faith.
leap, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I want to say two things to this. Okay, Akshaya. I would not judge anyone for doing or taking this step, even when you're 70 or 60 or 50 or 40 or 20 or 32. Why? Because I think everyone's journey is
oh
different,
yeah,
right?
completely.
Like for me also, uh, Two of my therapist friends told me this when I was 25.
Uh-huh.
Do it. You're so good. Do it.
Hmm.
Don't work for organizations full time. Just start your private practice. It will be fine. And I couldn't till I
Yeah.
was 31
Yeah.
because whatever, right? There are fears. I
Yes.
may not have been able to take that leap of faith. I wasn't able to give it that much time or energy, or I did not want to take that risk, or there are financial commitments,
Correct.
your privileges, or the lack of it. So what I would want to tell you and Simone and anyone else who's watching and who wants to think, try this,
Yeah.
do it at your own time. It's
Okay.
okay. Be practical also. You can't, you, it's not only a fairy tale.
Yes.
It's not a fairy tale, right? I always say this to people. Not everyone is meant to be
Yeah.
working independently
Correct.
or working as an entrepreneur, or some people
Yeah.
actually flourish beautifully with
Right,
organizations.
right.
So
And to be honest, that was something that I thought about. I didn't have that actual analysis of whether I can do it by myself,
yeah,
but I knew that I do very well with someone else, like in a team, in
yeah,
a
yeah,
group
yeah,
setting, or with someone in assignments that I've done, in group projects, in my work life. I've always done very well with collaborating. And
hmm,
I've seen that, like, I'm collaborating with you and I'm like really loving it. And so I think when I met Simone, I saw that we worked really well together. That was the reason why I was like, hey, I'm ready to take this step. Are
yeah.
you? And she was too. And we've been like I said, we've been really good partners, we've been really good friends. And we just see a really good future in this
But it's good
space.
that it's alive, right? It's happening on the side,
Yes, yeah, it's
so that's
it's
good.
it's happening, like,
Yeah,
very very slowly. It's at a snail's pace, but I don't mind it, because I've realized that I'm doing the best I can to
yeah,
understand my skills
yeah,
and myself better in different industries,
yeah,
especially now that I've moved to a different part of the world.
yeah.
She's still in the US, I'm here. I'm exposing myself to more different types of industries, wherein now I'm in real estate. She's still doing, she's a like, she does psychometric
Testing.
testing. She's a a therapist or a counselor. I might be a little unsure of her role at present. And she's doing what she can
Yeah,
from that end of the
absolutely.
world, and I'm doing what I can from here.
Absolutely.
And I think we are learning about ourselves and
Yeah,
how we can be better together,
yeah, yeah,
which I am okay with,
yeah.
because at the end we are going to be part of bigger organizations, helping them get out of situations which needs us to be a little more skillful. So it's not just that we can just start something new without having that skill set. And I
Absolutely.
want to be in a position where I can say that, hey, I know how to do this, let me do it. Or
Yeah,
we know how to do
yeah,
this, let's take
yeah,
charge.
yeah.
Or we should be able to say that, hey, we have no clue of how to maneuver this,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Like, I want to be 100%
Yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
just go see the money and then say yes or no to
Absolutely.
a deal.
I agree.
So that's something that we are figuring it
Yeah.
out, and we are going to be doing this for a long time, I hope.
But
um,
trust the process also. I mean,
yes,
I think it's easier said than done,
yes,
even when I
100%.
say it to myself. But
Yeah.
and also, I think have realistic expectations is another thing I tell people who want to
Yes,
start on
yes,
their own.
yes, yes.
It will move.
Right.
It will move, but some days will be better than others,
Others, yeah.
and so you have to also stick with it. And then
Makes sense.
I think
Yeah.
now when I look in hindsight, best decision of my life,
Yeah.
one of the best decisions of my life, to move out of working full time for any organization. No offense to any organizations, I think I've worked with some decent
Yeah.
ones, but I just, the autonomy and uh, the love and the passion I feel for my work when I'm doing it by myself is
Right.
just different. um but yeah, is it easy all days?
Mm-mm.
Absolutely not. So like I said, I think trusting
Yeah.
the process, and like you said, I think it's very important to recognize what you're good at, what you're not good at, figuring out if this is meant for you, not meant for
Correct.
you.
Yes.
But yeah, you don't get bogged down by fears of failure,
Hmm.
fears of other people's ideas
Oh
of
yeah,
success also, because then
correct.
that can take you down.
Yeah, and i I really appreciate you being honest and telling us about every detail, telling me about so many things that maybe it didn't make it to this
Yeah,
couch today.
for
But
another time.
yes, I do think that this is an amazing topic to discuss more about, and maybe we can bring it back in some other episode. But thanks for sharing so candidly about your journey.
Thank you,
And
Akshaya, for
no, of
doing this
course.
because it felt so comfortable even in front of the camera. So,
Oh,
because it's
yeah,
you, I
yeah.
guess.
No, I completely ignore or rather forget about the
The
camera
camera.
when I'm
Yeah, yeah,
talking to you, especially about certain topics that
yeah,
I am so interested in.
yeah, yeah.
So thanks again for being so candid. And you guys heard it here first that it's possible to quit your 9 to 5, but it's not easy. So if you're
Nothing is
thinking,
easy in life,
yeah,
also,
yeah.
guys. Now, what to do?
But if you're thinking about it, take a step, take that leap of faith and do it. I think we will be in your corner.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you next episode. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribing.
Subscribing.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.